Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is Selina. Welcome back to one of my videos. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name's Selina and I release a crochet tutorial every week. So yes, this week I'm bringing to you this beautiful tote bag. It's really easy to crochet. It's really pretty and it's so perfect to use if you are going out and about. It's absolutely perfect. It's really easy to make. So for this project I used 2 skeins of Red Heart Soft Baby Steps yarn, and this is considered an Aran weight yarn, and that's a medium 4 yarn, and it's recommended to use a 5mm crochet hook for this yarn. And this is shade 03 Light Pink. And it's absolutely beautiful. It's a delight to work with, so I definitely recommend this yarn. It was really nice, and it's quite, I don't know how to explain, but it is quite a sturdy, non-elastic acrylic yarn because it's 100% acrylic. But like I say, it's really good for crocheting a bag because I don't think it's going to stretch. So yeah, that's my opinion. So I also used a 5mm crochet hook. You will also be needing a pair of scissors and a tapestry needle, and you can also use some pins, some sewing pins, because we will be doing some sewing on this project, and that's completely optional. I didn't use any, but you might find it easier to use pins. So I'll be listing all of this in the down bar. The free pattern is, as always, available on my blog, selinaveronique.com, so check that out. And I will be lining my bag, so this is what it looks inside. There are lots of loose ends, but I will be lining this bag, and I will be linking in the down bar also, and here in the cards, the video that I made last year about lining a crochet bag. It's really easy. I hand sew a lining onto it, but you can machine do it, like sewing machine sew it. I hope you enjoy this tutorial. I will be using US terms with British terms in brackets, and also I would like to invite you to like, comment and subscribe because that really helps me out, so don't forget to do that for a new crochet tutorial every week. And also thank you so much to my patrons who support me on Patreon. I will be putting the link in the down bar. If you fancy more feminine crochet content, check it out. And yeah, I'm just going to jump into the tutorial, and again, thank you so much for your support. Okay, so for this part of the project we are going to be crocheting each part of the bag separately. So we will start by making the base of the bag, which is this part. I'll be of course showing you step by step how to make this, and then we will be making both sides of the bag. So this is one side and I've already completed it, and I will be showing you how to make this, and obviously we will have 2, and then once we've done this we will be stitching these together to create the bag. So this will be the base, and then we will be wrapping this around slightly, but I'll be showing you all of that when the time comes. So to begin with, let's crochet the base of the bag. So to begin your project, you will be creating a slip knot and pop your hook through like so and tighten. And now what you will be doing is chaining 36. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you should have 36 stitches, chains, sorry, but obviously I have chained less just for the purpose of demonstrating this part, but the principle is the same and you should have 36 chains. So once you have that number of chains, you are going to count 1 and 2 and go into the 3rd chain with a half double crochet. So to create your half double crochet, you will be wrapping your yarn around your hook, going into that chain, so the 3rd chain from the hook, pulling your yarn through. You have 3 loops on your hook, take your yarn and go through all 3 loops. And that is a half double crochet. And so the first chain 2 counts also as a half double crochet. So I'm just going to zoom in a bit, there we go. So now for the next stitch, you are going to be doing the exact same thing. So go into the next chain with a half double crochet. So just go ahead with a half double crochet and go into the next chain, with a half double crochet and into the next chain, and just place a half double crochet into each and every chain across until you reach the end of your row, and then I'll show you what to do. Obviously I finished my row, there we go. This is what I have. So that is a row of half double crochets. And what I am going to be doing for row 2, it's very simple. I'm going to chain 2, 1 and 2, and this counts as my first half double crochet. I will be turning my work like so, and because this counts as my first half double crochet, it goes with this first stitch here. So we are going to be working into the second stitch, this one, and place a half double crochet into that stitch directly. And just place a half double crochet into each and every stitch across until you reach the end of your row. Obviously your row will be a lot longer than mine. Okay, this is the part I wanted to show you. So we've almost reached the end of this row. However, we still have the chain 2 from the previous row, which is here, and which counts as a half double crochet. So don't forget to place a half double crochet inside this stitch, and this is what it looks like. However, this will straighten out, so the edges will straighten out as we go along. Okay, so just repeat this process for the next 5 rows. So what that means is that the base of the project will be 7 rows large. So I'm just gonna zoom out. Oops. So this is what I have personally, and this is what you should have too once you've finished these rows. So just go ahead and repeat row 2 until you have 7 rows in total, and then fasten off. So to fasten off, I'll show you now. So obviously this is a tiny little sample. You will be fastening off once you've finished all your rows, obviously, but I'm just showing you for the purpose of this video. Okay, so to fasten off, just take your scissors, snip off your yarn, and pull your yarn through the loop, and that's it. So I'll just let you do your base, and then I'll get back to you to show you the rest of the pattern. So once you've finished your base, you are going to be making 2 sides, and this is what one of the sides look like. I'm just showing you on camera. And this is what I'm going to show you how to crochet. So it's really easy. So to begin one side, you are going to be chaining 43. So for one side, so do this twice obviously, but for this side, just chain 43 chains, and then just do what I just showed you for the base. Row after row of half double crochet. So basically just if you need more help about this, just rewind the video and watch what I've just showed you for the base, and that's the exact same process that we're going to be doing for the sides of this bag. And you are just going to be doing row after row of half double crochets. And you are going to be doing 28 rows of half double crochets in total. And then once you reach row 28, obviously that's a row of half double crochets. What we are going to be doing is a row of double crochets, and then 1 row of half double crochets once again, and then the shell stitch edging at the top. But I will be showing you this, of course, once you've completed your 28 rows of half double crochets. I will be showing you row 29, 30 and 31 step by step. Okay, so I've just completed my second side, and I have done my 28 stitches of half double crochets, and now I'm going to show you what to do for row 29, which is very simple. It's simply a row of double crochets. So I'm just going to show you. Obviously I did this yesterday. So for row 29, so we've got our half double crochets here. What you are going to be doing is chaining 3, 1, 2, and 3, and this counts as our first double crochet. Turn your work. Okay, so we have our chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet with this first stitch here. So what we are going to be doing is going directly into the second stitch here with a double crochet. So wrap your yarn around your hook, go into this stitch, pull up a loop. You have 3 loops on your hook. Take your yarn and pull through 2 loops, and take your yarn and pull through 2 loops, and that's a double crochet. And obviously this is our first double crochet too. Now go into the next stitch with a double crochet, and into the next stitch with a double crochet, and just complete a row of double crochets. And when you reach the end of this row and you are starting the next row, I'll show you what to do then. Okay, so I'm back and I've almost finished this row, and so I've almost placed my last double crochet, but I still have 1 stitch left, which is the chain 2 from the previous row. So just go ahead and place a double crochet into that, like so, to complete your row. And this is what we have, a row of double crochets. Now what we will be doing is another row of half double crochets. So chain 2, 1 and 2, and this counts as your first half double crochet. Turn your work like so, and just go ahead and place half double crochets all along this row. And so obviously this counts as your first half double crochet and goes with this stitch. Now go into the second stitch with a half double crochet, and another stitch with a half double crochet, and just go ahead and place half double crochets all along this row, and then I'll show you what to do at the end of this row and for the next row. Okay, so we've reached the end of this row, and so what we are going to be doing is placing a 1 last half double crochet into this last stitch here, like so, and this is what we have, a row of half double crochets. Okay, so now for the row of the shell stitch edging, you are going to be chaining 3, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so now that you've chained 3, this counts as your first double crochet. Turn your work, and this is going to be the shell stitch edging part. So now that you've got 1 double crochet in the form of 3 chains, you are going to be placing 3 more double crochets inside this first stitch. So just go ahead, 1, 2, and 3. And so that is the equivalent to 4 double crochets inside 1 stitch, and a shell stitch is usually 5. Well, in this pattern it's 5 double crochets, but I've skipped 1 just because it's the edge of this row and I didn't want it to look strange once we'd sewed the project together. So this is why there's only 4 double crochets inside one stitch. So now just skip 1 and 2 and go into the third stitch with a single crochet. Now skip 1 and 2 and go into the third stitch with 5 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets, and this is our first full shell stitch. Now that you've done this, you are going to skip 1 and 2 and go into the next with a single crochet. Skip 1 and 2 and go into the next with a shell stitch, so 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 double crochets. Now skip 1 and 2 and go into the next with a single crochet. Skip 1 and 2 and go into the next with 5 double crochets. And I'll let you carry this row on. If you need more help, just check out the written pattern, which is linked in the down bar, and I'll meet you back to show you how to finish off this row. So you've placed your double crochet here. We've almost finished this row, and what we will be doing to finish off this row is skipping 1 and 2 stitches, going into the last stitch, which is also the chain 2 from the previous row, and place 4 double crochets inside that last stitch. So 1, 2, 3, and the reason we are placing only 4 double crochets is to make it symmetric. So this is what we have for now, and we are going to be fastening off. So you can fasten off and you can leave a long tail for sewing. This is what I'm going to be doing, so I'm just going to leave a long tail for sewing this in. And now pull this through the loop, and obviously you should have 2 sides, so just if you haven't already, just repeat this process. So you have 2 sides in total, and now I'm just going to show you how to sew the bag in and finish it. Okay, so I'm back and I'm going to show you how to sew the project in. So I've already prepared my project to show you. So what I've done is I've laid one of the sides down, and I've popped the bottom part of the bag here, and what I've done is I've centered it, so the side is going to be larger than the bottom, of course, because the principle will be that it will fold a bit over once we've sewed the project together. So that's why. So your bottom should be slightly smaller, and I've centered it. So yes, what I mean is that there are approximately 3 stitches that are on this side and on that side once we've centered the project. So now we are going to be sewing it in. Okay, so to sew the project in, you are going to be taking a loose end, well, not a loose end, but a piece of yarn. So take a piece of yarn and attach it to either side of the bottom of the project. So just go ahead and do that. Please ignore all the loose ends on this project. So there we go. We've tied the piece of yarn, and what I am going to be doing, I think my piece of yarn is a bit long, to be fair. I might cut it a bit because it's too long. Okay, so here we go. So now that we've attached the piece of yarn, we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and go into that 4th stitch here on the side to start sewing this this bottom in. And now, so you can use pins. I'm not going to do that because I can sew my project in without the help of pins. However, you can pin your project together if that's easier for you to sew it in. So I'm just going to let you carry this So I'm just going to let you sew this in. So what we are going to be doing, I feel like I'm all over the place this morning, so apologies about that. What we are going to be doing is sewing this in all along this edge, and make sure that you place your project like so. So you can use some pins. I'm not going to do that because I'm used to sewing, so I'm not going to do that, but you could definitely use some pins just to make sure that your project is nice and straight. Again, I'm going to leave 1, 2, 3 stitches on this side, so that I sew my project in like so. So I hope this makes sense. Yeah, so just sew this all along this edge, and then once we reach here, I'll show you what to do then. Okay, so once you've stitched this part together, what we are going to be doing is folding. So I'm just gonna snip off this loose end. I'm not going to be sewing in the loose ends at the end of the project because I will be placing them inside the bag, and I always line my crochet bags so they will be inside the bag and under the lining, so there's no point me tidying up the loose ends like I usually would. So what we are going to be doing, I'm just going to zoom in a bit, apologies if this is just okay. So now I'm just going to pull this part of the project like so and sew it together. So what I'm going to be doing is placing, so this side that is quote unquote sticking out, and sewing it like so to go around the bottom of the bag. So there we go. I'm just going to stitch this. So please do this as best you can. If that means pulling your project a bit or whatever, just go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is what I have. I've turned it slightly just for ease, and now I've finished sewing my side in. What I am going to be doing is creating a knot. So this again is optional, but I'm just going to create a knot like this, and you see it's created this kind of shape that we are going for. So this will be the bottom of the bag, I hope you can see, and this is what we have done. And what we are going to be doing is attaching our yarn onto the other side. So attach a piece of yarn and again repeat this process like this. So just go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is what we have. I've gone around and sewed the side in, as you can see, and now I'm just going to tie a knot. So just go ahead and do that if you wish. Once again, please just ignore all the loose ends. Yeah. Okay, so now we have our first part sewed like this. As you can see, what we are going to be doing is sewing the bottom of the other side now. So once we've done that, so once we've sewed the other bottom side, we will be sewing both sides together, but only once we've finished. So to do this, obviously this looks a bit not right at the moment because we're sewing it together, but you will see that it will look right in a moment. So I've finished this side. What we are going to be doing is placing this side on top as best you can, so obviously symmetrically. And what you are going to be doing is taking the sides here and placing it like that. So I hope this makes sense. And we are going to start sewing this part together first, so the sides. I've got a loose end, and what I am going to be doing is tying it like that, just for extra security. And again, I've measured about 3 to 4 stitches on this side that will go on one side, if that makes sense. So just go ahead, you can pull your project a bit, and just sew this bottom part in. So like I said, you can either attach a piece of yarn or you can use one of your loose ends like I am doing for just this part here. You can use pins or whatever you need to. I'm gonna sew it in like that, but again I am gonna pull on it a bit. Okay, so just go ahead and sew this part in, and then I'll show you how to sew the bottom, the straight, yeah. Okay, so I finished this side sewing it in. I'm gonna make a knot like this, so just do whatever feels right to you. So there we go, I've tightened this. I'm just going to snip it off again. Like I said, all my loose ends will be inside the bag. Now I am going to attach a longer piece of yarn just to sew in this piece together. So this piece is this part, so the front side. And again, I'm going to make sure I leave quite a bit of fabric, well, not fabric, but crochet piece on that side, just because we'll need to sew it into the side like this. I hope this is making sense. Please forgive me if I don't know all the vocabulary. As I've already said in previous videos, I am French, and English sometimes, yeah, eludes me. So forgive me if my English vocabulary isn't perfect. So now you are going to attach this piece of yarn with a knot like this. Once again, I'm just going to snip off this loose end. And what I am going to be doing is sewing the front in as best I can. Once again, just using the mattress stitch. You can use whichever stitch you prefer. I like using this mattress stitch. This is also called, I think, the seamless stitch or the seam to seam stitch. I'm not really sure, but anyways, just go ahead and sew it in the front part. So this is quite easy, and just again, I'm gonna say this again, make sure you kind of pull on this front part as you go along, just so that you have enough to go around the sides. So once again, just go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what to do here. Okay, so I've gone all the way across, as you can see, and now I'm going to start sewing in the side. So I've got quite a bit of side left here, and I'm just going to sew that in like I would any other side of the project. So just go ahead and sew this in the best you can, as best you can. And yeah, just make sure that it's nice and neat, and then I'll meet you back to show you how to sew the rest of the bag. Okay, so I've almost finished this side. I'm just going to show you how, obviously I'm tying these loose ends together. I'm just going to snip off these yarns just for ease. And this is what I have. So the bottom of your project is sewed in, and now we just need to sew the sides of this project, so both sides in. And as you can see, the shape is slowly starting to happen. Okay, so now for this part of the project, what I am going to be doing is turning it inside out. So it's just, even though I'm using the mattress stitch, which is a bit of a seamless stitch, like I said, I do find that it's it'll make it a bit neater. I just feel more comfortable sewing it on the inside. And what you are going to be doing is placing it nice and symmetric like this, and you are going to be sewing in. So I had a loose end, but you can just use any piece of yarn that you've attached onto your project and just start sewing this in all along the side. So just go ahead and do this, and I'll meet you back to show you how to finish off this. Okay, so I'm back and I've finished sewing in both sides of this project. So obviously, once again, please ignore all the loose ends. I'm tying my my yarn just to secure it, and now I'm looking for the scissors, sorry, and I'm just going to snip this yarn off just because it's easier. There we go. And this is what we have for now. So this is the inside of the bag, and as you can see, it's really starting to take shape. I absolutely adore it. I'm just going to turn it the right way just to have a little idea of what it's going to look like. So I'm really excited, I'm really happy, it's looking really nice. And what I am going to be doing now is showing you how to crochet the handles for this tote bag. So I'm back and I'm going to show you how to create the handles. So I've popped my project back inside out so that we are going to be working on the inside of the bag. So this is quite an important information. So just make sure that you've turned it inside out. And now what we are going to be doing is placing our handles on the third shell stitch. What I mean by that is that we are going to be counting one, so that's a half shell, but I'll count it as a shell for now. So 1, 2, 3. And this is where we will be placing a handle, and then the same on the other side, 1, 2, 3, which will be the other handle, and it will be centered. So just make sure, and you've got 2 shell stitch in the middle, 2 shells in the middle, sorry. So now what we are going to be doing, once we've located the shell stitch under which we are going to be working, you are going to be attaching your yarn at the center of the shell stitch. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. At the center of the shell, and just try and locate any stitch really, and just attach your yarn, and make sure it's quite a solid stitch, if that makes sense, just because you want it to be like it will be the handles, and depending what you are going to be putting into your bag, you want your handles to be secure. So I've actually popped it through 2 stitches. I'm just going to zoom in. There we go. And I'm going to attach my yarn. So this is actually the row of half double crochets that we did before the row of shell stitches. And now that we've attached our yarn, just pop your hook back through and chain 1. Okay, so I've chained 70. Sorry about that. I had to do it just to see how long the chain would be. So I've chained 70, and now making sure that you've not twisted your chain. So make sure your chain isn't twisted in any way. So just do this to make sure of that. Just place it. I'm actually going to take out my hook. And just make sure that you've not twisted your chain. Okay, there we go. What we are going to be doing is attaching it under the 1, 2, and 3. So under this shell stitch at the center, once again, just go through 1 or 2 stitches and slip stitch. Well, yeah, slip stitch. So take your yarn and pull through that loop just to secure your yarn like so. Okay, so now you have your handle. Okay, so now that you've secured your chain 1, and now just go into the next chain that you can locate on this this chain. So just locate the chain, the next chain, and place a single crochet into that. So for your single crochet, I'll just show you a single crochet in a minute. So I've placed my first single crochet, go into the next chain with a single crochet. So to create your single crochet, just go directly through, pull up a loop. You've got 2 loops on your hook, take your yarn and pull through 2 loops. And that's your single crochet. Now go into the next chain and place another single crochet into that. And into the next chain, and just place single crochets all the way around this chain until you reach the other side, and then I'll show you what to do then. So I've reached the other side. I'm just going to zoom in. So this is what I have, a row of single crochets. I've reached the other side, and what I am going to be doing again is making sure I've not twisted the chain, and I'm just going to secure it again to some stitches here. So once again, I'm going to slip stitch, and I've taken a couple of stitches randomly, and I'm just going to slip stitch this part through. Again, like I said, this will be our what's holding the bag, so you don't want it to be too loose and not secured enough, if that makes sense. So now that you've secured it, you are going to fasten off, because we are only going to be doing one row of single crochets. So just fasten off and slip stitch to close this off. And again, what you could do, and what I may do, is secure this even more. So I might go in with one of the loose ends and just sew it in again. So what I am going to be doing, however, is sewing it a bit more into the other side, because I find that the other side is not secure enough for my liking. So I'm just going to sew it in. I've got a piece of loose yarn, and I'm just going to sew this in gently. But this is optional, you don't have to do this. It depends what you will be putting into your bag, and just make sure it's nice and straight also. So I'm just going to straighten this out also, and then just sew it a bit. I'm not going to sew it like crazy or anything, but I just want to make sure it's nice and secure. And also, I've only done one row of single crochets, but if you prefer, you could do 2 rows of single crochet. Or however many rows you want, just to have maybe a thicker handle. It's totally up to you. Or strap, I don't know if it's a handle or a strap, straps maybe. So yes, so just do this, and then do the exact same thing on the other side. So I'm just going to let you do the same thing on the other side, and then I'll get back to you for the rest of the video. So I'm back, and I've done both my straps. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. I did have to sew one of the straps in quite well. I don't know why, but just so you know, I did that. So don't be afraid of sewing it in onto the project once you've fastened off and so on. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to make the handles bigger, you can chain more. That's completely up to you. So this is the back. I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. Okay, so this is how it looks. I absolutely adore how it's turned out. I might tie this in this row, this double crochet row, I might tie a scarf in it or a ribbon. I'm not 100% sure. So as I said, I might tie in a ribbon or something. Check out my blog, because I'll be posting pictures of that if I do it in this double crochet row. That's the reason why I did the double crochet row, to have that option to pop a ribbon in or a scarf in. So I've not yet done that, but I'm going to finish the tutorial here. And as I said, if I do decide to do that, just check out the blog. The link is in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.